Sounds correct.
Welcome, Realm family, to another episode of Wrestling with the Realm podcast. I'm Brian, one half of the Power and Glory of Wrestling podcast, and on the other side, he is the Hercules to my Paul Roma. He's my guy, Will. Will, what are we talking about?
You know, as you were going through the intro right there, I remember a time when I used to do the intro and how bad it was. And we got you doing it. It's so much better. Guys, we got overrated and underrated. It's our jam here on Wrestling with the Realm. We love it. And we got some superstars here, present, past, to talk about. Brian, you take us straight into it. First wrestler.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I brought this up a few podcasts ago. I said I was gonna do it. I'm doing it. Becky Lynch. We gotta talk about it again because I know that this is gonna be a hot button issue, and I know I'm generally going to say an unpopular opinion, but I have faith that I'm not the only one. You know why, Will? Because
Why?
nobody came at me about Penta being overrated. And the guy who was dressed like Penta at WrestleMania in Vegas, even he, when I interviewed him, didn't say Penta was underrated. Even he stumbled and was kind of like, well, I guess he's okay. And he was dressed like him. So, that being said, I have hope that I'm not going to be out on an island here when I say, to me, in my opinion, Becky Lynch is overrated. I I still just I don't get the appeal. I understand why people do like her so much because of what she's done in the past.
Mhm.
So I know that that's hard for me because I wasn't a part of that. But with somebody who has such a reputation as she does, and a good reputation, but as somebody who I was kind of told is really, really good, she comes back. I wasn't impressed with her before she left, and I haven't been impressed with her now that she's back. She's made Lyra Valkyria better, but I feel like Lyra's gotten better. And I don't know if I can give Becky Lynch a lot of all the credit for that. Um, and maybe I said it before, maybe it's just this heel character that she's playing. I can't get into it. It's too much. It feels disingenuous, and this her work in the ring is fine, but I'm not all excited about it. I don't feel the same way I do when it's Kaylani Jordan and Sol Ruka in a match, and that's NXT. Now, maybe that's because it's a different thing, and I know Becky Lynch is a different style,
Mhm.
but for me personally, she hasn't backed up what her reputation has been, so she just seems overrated to me. Overrated.
You know, and that's why we're all entitled to our own opinions. Brian knew. He was like, he came up to me, he was like, man, I gotta do it. We're talking about Becky Lynch. You guys know I'm a Becky Lynch fan. She is one of my favorites in the WWE Women's Division. I the reason I like Becky Lynch so much is because I feel like she just gets the best out of people. And we saw that with her match with, you know, I'm gonna give the same spiel I always do when I come here and talk about Becky. I'm gonna talk about the Trish Stratus steel cage match, the Nia Jax match at Raw Day One, the Tiffany Stratton match at it was an NXT pay per view. It was a hardcore match, street fight. She had two phenomenal matches with Lyra, and although she might not be the MVP in those matches, she always delivers stellar matches. And maybe that's because her dancing partner has always been great. But, you know, we go through those names and they haven't. They haven't always been great. You talk about Nia Jax in ring work. This isn't the current Nia Jax. This is
Mhm.
the Nia Jax from 3 years ago when she just got back to the WWE. And the one part about her is that her promos aren't great all the time. They are very hit or miss. And recently, I will agree, they haven't been hitting the same. I I'm struggling with the character she's going for a little bit, although her promo with Bailey was better than the one she's been doing with Lyra. And I'm excited for her feud with Bailey and Lyra. Now, all this being said, you guys might expect me to go underrated for Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch is properly rated where she should be. I don't think she would be in most people's GOAT conversations. She's probably in mine, but that's because I'm a huge Becky Lynch fan. I think most people would have Charlotte above her, even probably a Bailey or a Mercedes Monet, even like a Trish Stratus, Lita. Those are probably names you'll hear a little bit more than Becky. And maybe I'm just on the wrong side of Becky Lynch fandom. Maybe she is everyone's GOAT. I know she made Sports Illustrated's #1 top 100 women's wrestlers of all time. And maybe if you're looking at that list,
Whoa, whoa,
yes,
whoa, no, time out, time out.
yeah,
Did you just say that Sports Illustrated did a top 100 women's wrestlers or wrestlers?
women's wrestlers.
So top 100 women's wrestlers,
Yeah,
and they had Becky Lynch as #1.
yes, yeah.
Who did they have as #2?
I would guess Charlotte Flair.
Hmm.
That's probably how it goes for most people. Becky, Charlotte, you could probably throw in like I said, any of the names I listed. Even AJ Lee ranks pretty high on most people's
Hmm.
lists. And also on those lists though, you got to realize there's a bunch of New Japan Pro Wrestling women's wrestlers that I'm not educated enough to talk about. I don't watch enough of that division, which is probably not a good thing because apparently they have the best women's division in all of wrestling.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I
Uh,
for me, Becky Lynch is properly rated. For
okay.
some people, she's their GOAT. And when you're talking about such a big superstar with such a, you know, you talked about it. Her past work is what's really hyped up. And you've only seen,
Yeah.
this part of her career. I don't know. I think Becky is properly rated, but I don't blame you for going overrated, especially with her most recent body of work over the last few months with this character.
And you kind of hit the nail on the head with where I'm at is you have background to go off of, but even you were saying that you just don't understand this character that she's playing, or she's
Yeah,
not doing a great job of selling us on what this character is. It was kind of weird how they brought the whole thing out with the Baileys, hurt at WrestleMania. She comes out, they win the tag titles just to drop them again on Monday.
that was not a
And
good
it,
call.
like, it just seemed, everything seemed really weird and kind of jerky, herky jerky with it. And her character, that's kind of where I'm at, is I just don't get it. And without having all the fondness from before, is why I lean on the overrated side. So I understand why everybody really likes her. Just for me, I personally, I just don't get it yet. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that changes. And when it does, I'll be on here saying it. I'll be the first one to say it, and I will reverse that overrated. We've done it before.
Well, yeah. Look at we were talking about one of her dancing partners being Lyra. A
Hmm.
couple months ago, we were sitting on this same episode
Yeah.
talking not so fondly about Lyra,
Hmm.
and now we sing her praises for the most part, and
Yeah.
she deserves it. So
Yep.
it's pretty easy to get us get us to turn around. You just got to put on
Yeah.
good in ring work, and even more important than that, you got to tell a good story. And right now, that's definitely something you can criticize Becky for just a little bit, just a
Yeah.
little bit. Well, enough about Becky Lynch. Let's move on to our next wrestler, Brian. I got a guy who most of their career was actually spent outside of the WWE, but joined the WWE in 2017. I
Ooh.
have the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Oh boy.
Now this is a tough one because you look at the body of work AJ Styles has created around the world, and you're talking about one of the greatest to ever do it in the ring. But he's one of those guys that by the end of his career in WWE, you will look at him and you'll go, man, they could have done more, especially in his prime. Now you talk about him and he's not even a step slow in the ring. He's just getting a little older. And typically with guys who are on the way out and you're not a John Cena or Randy Orton or a lifelong WWE guy, you aren't going to see the top prize. Now, he had a trilogy of matches with Cody Rhodes for the top prize. All of them were really good. He did the Mark Henry, he faked his retirement,
Yeah.
and I think he wore the bright blue suit and Mark Henry wore the bright pink suit. So he did it to a T and he did it well. He called out the champion and he had his heel turn, which was solid. He's a multiple time United States champion, tag champ, IC champ, Grand Slam champion. He had one of the best debuts ever. I'll never forget it when he came out at the Royal Rumble in 2017. He was number 3, and they just
Ooh.
lost it for him because Vince was worried about him starting the match. Because how are you gonna start the match, pal? No one knows who you are. They don't know. They don't know, and they knew right
Nobody
away.
knows him. What the hell,
And
pal?
yeah, I love AJ Styles. I think his feud with John Cena will always be remembered. They had amazing matches, and this is when John Cena was really at his peak wrestling before he went to Hollywood. I think it was 2016, 2017. He had the US Open Challenge stuff, and these matches with him and Cena is some of Cena's best in-ring work. And if you're able to get that out of John Cena, you got to me, you got to be underrated. You He's one of my favorites of all time, so I feel like now he doesn't get talked about as much. We'll address the elephant in the room. He's a botch fest on the mic every once in a while. He is. He's had a few really tough promos recently with the Judgment Day, and I'm like, yeah, that's AJ Styles. That's why he's never gotten way over the hump and had extremely long title reigns in WWE. But I feel like the in-ring work is so undeniable that sometimes it makes up for it. And he'll be one of those guys you look at and you're like, man, they could have done more with him. And he did have a year-long reign with the belt, but I feel like that was in 2016, and then this next one was in 2018, and he just could have done more during the 2020s, early 21. But the belts were held hostage by Roman Reigns, as we know. And to me, underrated. Brian, what do you think?
I mean, for what I know of AJ Styles, I kind of always knew about him in the periphery out there when I was kind of out of wrestling. I knew that he was one of the guys who was, towards the top of the card. You see things. And once I got back in and he was feuding with Cody that last time around when he had the heel turn and he did the Mark Henry thing, I thought it was great. I thought for a side quest feud for Cody, I thought it was good. I thought it was entertaining. I think AJ Styles can work in the ring. I don't think anybody would ever question that. Even when
Yeah.
he's on the mic, I haven't noticed him do too many botches on the mic. Uh, I think he's pretty fun. Like he seems like what he does when he is on the mic, or at least this version when he came back now again and he's a face again. Um,
Yeah.
he just seems like a lot of fun, and I feel like there is more that could have been done with him. So when you say, even from what you've seen, that you're gonna look back and say, wow, they could have done more. Even for me, who hasn't seen a lot of him, I kind of would think the same thing, where I go,
Yeah.
he's always there, and I'm always waiting for something else to happen, and it never really materializes. And I go, he's great in the ring, and everybody loves him. He puts on a good match. He can tell a story in the ring. Uh, so I'm feeling very giving, underrated. AJ Styles, underrated.
Yeah, correction. It was the 2016 Rumble. I said 2017. I know I got some. Sometimes you'll look and people will be like, "No, no, it was
Yeah.
2016 when he debuted." And I was like, "Yeah, I caught myself there. That go though, guys. I caught myself."
Yeah. Yeah, we try not to have too many Jim Cornettes. We're
Yeah,
not the, Jim will tell you, back there from 1974. AJ Lee was wrestling down at the Sportatorium in Texas and tried to kill somebody because they said I was a heel, and you got to watch out when you're a heel because people will try to kill you because you're a heel. You're mean. It's like he'll go back and he'll start pulling out random stuff, and I have a theory that Cornette does it because he can throw in a bunch of BS. Who's going to call him on it? Nobody knows. When
yeah,
he goes into his 1972, this happened on this day and so and so, who's pulling that up in that moment? I'm on you,
yeah,
Corny. I know what
yeah.
you're doing. Uh,
When it when it's more recent, you got to make sure you're fact checking yourself. But
yeah,
when you're talking about 1972,
yeah.
no one's pulling the book out on you.
No, Corny will do that though. That's why we love him.
That's right. That's right. Brian, who do you got next?
All right, I'm going a little old school. I always like to throw in an old school wrestler. Uh, Especially I know we got some of our viewers who are old school like me. So this one will probably hit close to home for some of you guys. British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Overrated or underrated, Will?
So let me tell you something. I'm not super familiar with the British Bulldog, but he was one of my favorite people in WWE 2K16 and 2K. I think it was which one had Punk on the cover? It's really iconic. I think it was 14. He was one of my favorite people to use. He was in all the storylines, and I loved him in those games. So off of that, straight nostalgic, underrated. But his in-ring work is actually pretty good as well. And in these old pay-per-views we're watching, he always does stand out because first of all, the look is great on him. And in ring, he's very fast-paced and he's not a tiny guy. He
Hmm.
really is not. I forgot what Rumble we were watching, but he did go pretty far in that Rumble, and I thought,
91.
yeah, he had a good
Yeah.
performance in that Rumble. I do remember that. And of course, he had a classic match with Brett. He's had a classic match with Sean. I do remember watching those when I was pretty young, but this is something I probably need to be a little bit more educated on. So, Brian, fill me in.
So for the record, are you going underrated?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just off the fact that I loved
Okay.
playing him in 2K growing up.
Okay. Um, I'll be honest that I he popped in my head when we were talking about doing this episode, and I was prepared to say overrated. And I don't even I can't even tell myself why, because as you were explaining it, I was going, why am I thinking overrated? What's wrong with me? I think back to Davey Boy Smith, and I can go back to the British Bulldogs, his tag team with Dynamite Kid
Yeah,
and their bulldog Matilda. If I ever get an English bulldog, naming her Matilda,
solid.
100%. He later had Winston, but Matilda, great name for a English bulldog. Um, and I loved them when I was a kid. And then you moved into the later 80s and Davey Boy is working as a singles wrestler. And he was one of those guys that as a kid I always was drawn to, always really liked him, even though he was a mid-carder. He would kind of get to the top of the mid-card, but it was always exciting to see him. There was many a time where me and my friends would be wrestling and I would choose to be Davey Boy Smith. I love the look that he has in the ring with the capes. I love the music, like that he brings a bulldog down to the ring.
Super tough.
Like all of that stuff really stood out. Andy was a big guy and was kind of that larger than life, but was quick in the ring, and that really stood out when he wrestled the Warlord at like WrestleMania 7 or 8, whatever it was, with the Battle of the Full Nelsons or whatever it was. And you could see how a big guy who doesn't move so well in the Warlord versus Davy Boy, and he really stood out in that. And then even he goes on further after that. He has a heel turn when it's the New Heart Foundation, when it's him and Brett and Owen and uh, Anvil. Jim Neidhart was in there. Brian Pillman when they're doing that whole gimmick, which was great, having this heel faction of Hearts, and he was in it and he worked great as a heel, not just a face. But he never got to the highest highs that he could have. You know, he had his own issues that he fought, which probably contributed to preventing him from getting to that very top. Um, but for what he did, I look back on it now, so weird of me to immediately jump to overrated. I don't know what was going on. I don't know why I had a bee in my bonnet about that. That was silly because clearly Davy Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, underrated.
I wonder why that is. Why he's appealing to the young fan,
Yeah,
because the young fan in me and you both are like, man, I love this guy. I
yeah.
remember the match that was in the showcase. It was him and Sean at oh gosh. It was him and Sean at the one night only pay-per-view for the European Championship. And there was also another 2K, and that was the match at SummerSlam versus Brett.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
I don't know why he didn't get a push, but he was pushed pretty heavy in these 2K games. Who knows why? Who knows?
But
But
did he ever win a big title in those 2K games?
no, no.
Okay,
And
so
I'm
it's just like real life.
yeah, it's just like real life.
He's part
I'm
of storylines, but never actually gets the big win.
yeah, I'm looking and I'm seeing like, oh, what matches is he most known for? I do I do see he wrestled The Rock one time. That'd be a good match to walk.
Really, one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, 1999 and
Oh,
um WWF Rebellion.
hmm. I'm gonna have to go
Maybe a
check
little,
that out.
yeah, retro rewatch. He
Yeah.
wrestled Diesel for the belt.
Oh,
He could
yes.
he could have
Yeah.
won that one, to be fair. I
Yeah.
feel like, why does Diesel need the WWF championship? Sorry. Didn't mean to throw a stray at my guy Diesel.
It's
He was
okay.
already overrated on
Yeah.
our podcast, so he
Two
doesn't need
bad
any
knees and a
credit.
mullet.
Yeah, yeah. But overall, British Bulldog, underrated.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next wrestler, Brian. We're talking about a guy who is younger than me,
Oh.
which makes me feel like a little bit of like, what am I doing with my life? We got that boy bouncy, Javon Evans,
Yeah.
and we don't talk as much NXT as we should. We've been doing a little bit more main roster, and sometimes we just got to take a step back and acknowledge someone when they are working
Mm-hmm.
so unbelievably well. And that's Javon Evans. He is just, I think if you were to turn on NXT on a random Tuesday night and you knew nothing about wrestling, he would be the guy that catches your eye.
Yep.
He is high flying as it gets. He is. Uh, I love him on the mic. I know that's the part where some wrestling fans are like, "Man, but his promo style," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I kind of love it. I really do." And he'll just tell someone to shut up, and man, his recent feud with Ethan Page was money.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. The whole broken jaw angle was great.
Yes, it was
And
good.
the in-ring storytelling in those matches, I know we actually reviewed one of those matches where Ethan Page won. And they're still carrying on bits and pieces of that feud. I know they just had a fatal four-way match where both of them were in the match at AAA Worlds Collide, and that match was amazing. I go back to the triple threat match with Trick and Obafemi. You were there, my man.
Mm-hmm.
You were there.
Yep.
And you have high reviews about that match and Javon Evans being in that match. I don't think there is a match you could point out outside of the ending of the Randy Orton match where he had a moment where he didn't hit his move and it was a little bit of a botch and he got a little bit of hate for that. But outside of that, he's been flawless. He really has. In the ring, he is so good. And sometimes when you go for these uber high risk moves, you're going to crash and burn every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while. And I honestly appreciate that because it shows that he's willing to take those risks in the ring. And I appreciate Javon Evans so much. Brian, talk to me about it. Why do we love Javon Evans?
So you're going underrated, Will?
Oh, 100% underrated.
Okay, so when you said younger than you, I was like, oh God, please say Javon Evans. I was so excited for you to say that because I love this guy. I love
Mhm,
Javon Evans. Um, you're right, all the broken jaw stuff was great. He was telling a story. Everybody knows I'm all about getting the story in. He was able to tell a story. The way that he works in the ring is just electric. You know what he is? He's Ricochet, but like an actual professional wrestler, if that makes sense. Like that's Javon Evans.
yo.
It's him in a nutshell. And Will is right. I was at Stand and Deliver, and that match with Javon Evans, Obafemi, and Mr. Lash Legend in that match was so good. And seeing it in person and watching Javon Evans throughout that match, it was electric. He was good. All three of them were telling a story. There was two spots in that match where my wife and I legitimately did the because you thought Javon Evans was going to win that match. Even though deep down inside you were like, Javon Evans ain't going to win this match. It's not happening. You
Mhm.
know, they worked so well in that match, and he worked so well in that match that you actually believed he could win. And that is when wrestling is magical and it's doing the best that it can do. Is when you get wrapped up in what's going on in the match, you don't know what's going to happen, and uh it gets real emotion, and it gets real what's the word I'm looking for? Reactions. It gets real reactions out of you in the moment because
Mhm.
it's unpredictable and everybody is doing their part in this crazy dance that is professional wrestling. And Javon Evans, as a young man, has found a way to do that. Sky is the limits. He is
For real.
underrated. Being that young and being able to perform the way that he does is special. And what they have going on in NXT, I think, is the perfect place to kind of foster that kind of talent
Yeah.
and get it ready for the main roster. And they've been doing it really, really well. So kudos to Sean because NXT has really been doing a great job telling good stories, having good performers, and that's supposed to be the developmental. And they're knocking it out of the park. And Javon Evans is a big reason why. Underrated.
Underrated, 100%. And the craziest part, dude has like another 20 to 25 years in the
Hmm.
tank of prime wrestling. And that's crazy. His style is very comparable to a Nathan Frazier, but he's also a little with the speed, but he also is way more, no pun intended, bouncy.
Yeah,
The way he does springboard moves is one of one because he's so
yes,
tall too.
yes.
It doesn't add up.
No,
None of it adds up when you watch him in the ring. And that's just one of the reasons I love Javon Evans. We talked about his promo work. It's always been good. And like you said, sky's the limit when you're talking about a dude that is the same age as me.
yeah.
It's crazy. I'm
It's
sitting, yeah, I'm sitting on here talking about him and we're the same age. That blows my mind, man. It does. He's killing it.
Yeah. I love me some Javon Evans. I can't say enough about him. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to see him go on into bigger things when he gets to the main roster. Eventually, just have
Yes.
fun in NXT.
Yeah, for sure. Brian, take us into our last wrestler for this episode of Overrated and Underrated.
Well, this is going to dovetail nicely into some NXT talk, and
Okay.
this is one that I wouldn't have even thought of, but I feel like maybe this is a good one for us to talk about a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
Jordynne Grace, overrated or underrated?
Okay.
I
I
know.
um so the hype around Jordan Grace coming into the WWE was superstar treatment similar to a Jade Cargill. The only difference is Jade appeared on all of the shows, Raw,
Hmm.
SmackDown, NXT, where Jordan Grace, we knew she was NXT right when she signed, but she still got rolled out at the Rumble twice. Once as the TNA Knockouts Women's Champion. So I feel like for all the buzz she's generated, maybe just the slightest bit overrated. Now, don't get me wrong, she is great in the ring. She is. Although she's had she's had a few moments where I'm like, "Oh, you know, I know Brian, you'll probably talk a little bit about the Julia spots,
Probably.
and those were a little dicey. I think it was three times in one match, and if you haven't seen that, go look it up. You can go back to our Liv Morgan and podcast where we talk about Liv Morgan's injuries. We don't like to put them on one
Mhm.
person. I hate doing that. It is wrestling and it's dangerous. I know there's a scripted aspect to it, but the moves, they hurt. They're very real. But when you're dropping someone on their neck like three times,
Mhm.
you're talking about some pretty dangerous stuff. And I feel like the biggest thing with Jordan Grace is her mic work isn't awful. It's not my cup of tea. She's not bad in the ring. Do you want to know what I think she lacks more than anything? The ability to tell a story in the ring. You watch these matches and they kind of just feel a little lifeless at
Mhm.
moments. And they're big matches. She's been put in big feuds. And I'm sorry, you talk about the match with Stephanie Vaquer. I wasn't really super invested. I wasn't. And that's crazy to think about when we're talking about two high profile names. And I don't know, for as high profile as she is, I would just deem her a little bit overrated from what she's done since she's came to NXT. And that sucks for me to say because I know me and you, when she first debuted, we were super excited
Mhm.
and not living up to the hype for me. I'm sorry. I know that might be a hot take. It might be.
I don't think it's a hot take, Will.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're going to back me up here.
Yeah. So Will's going overrated, and I had to think a lot about this because Will's right. When she came in, we were really high on having Jordynne Grace in the WWE. We were throwing out stuff, or at least I was. I was throwing out stuff like her and Becky Lynch. This would be great after
And
Royal Rumble. Like, and you could kind of see it. Like
yeah,
with the fanfare that she was given when she showed up and a good showing in the Royal Rumble and all these things where you go, she looked good. She was doing spots. Um, there's something captivating about her that, I said it a while ago, probably during Royal Rumble, that, she stood out to my wife, who's the casual fan that I always talk about, because she's a great test for just a casual fan watching what they think, that Jordynne Grace stood out to her and she was kind of drawn to watching her, saying, "Oh, wow, she's watching her is entertaining." Um, but I look back and I say, it's a Royal Rumble match, so you're a little bit protected with what you can do. And the more body of work that we've seen, it's not just the Julia match. Yes, the Julia match was a rough one to watch, and
yeah.
luckily everybody was okay. But um, be nice not to drop Julia like on her head 3 times. It'd be awesome. Uh,
Crazy.
and again, it's not trying to throw strays at anybody or anything, but everybody has seen the clip. Go find it. It was not a great match for Jordynne Grace. She'd probably be the first person to tell you that. But I
Yeah.
think the longer we've watched her now, she hasn't gotten to the level that was kind of expected when she came in. She had a lot of hype. We were hyped up. She had a resume that told you this is going to be something super exciting,
100%.
and it hasn't panned out that way so far. And maybe that's because you have Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, Roxanne Perez. You have a lot of other people who are in that division that we always talk about is the best women's division in professional wrestling, that she might have been a big fish in a small pond before, but that pond is now an ocean and there's bigger fish. And that's not to say that she's still not good or that she's still not
Oh,
entertaining, but based off of what we were expecting and where we've gotten to, I'm saying overrated. And this may be one that we do look back and we retract because I'm putting her in the category now of a Jade Cargill or a Lyra Valkyria, where I see potential and I'm hoping that she gets to it. I hope that this is not a plateau for her. I hope that this is still on the uptick and we're going to see some really, really good work. Um, but until I see that, I have to go overrated. But I hope that we can look back and we can say, man, we were wrong. She proved us wrong and she's what we thought she was. But can't do that right now. I feel like we got to keep it 100 and we got to be fair. I'm with you, Will. Overrated.
yeah, and I'm so confident to say, book it now. We will be
Yeah.
going on some show later. I don't know. Hopefully, it's when she gets to the main roster saying, yeah, we were wrong. I
Yep.
can almost guarantee we say that
Yeah.
because there is a body of work in the past that has been amazing that we can look on and say, yeah, she can get back there, even
Yep.
though it has been. And the TNA or AEW transition to WWE is tough. It is
Hmm.
tough. You've seen a few people struggle with it. I mean, some of the people we are most critical of,
Yeah.
Penta. Jade
Yep.
Cargill, AEW people, and same for some of these TNA people. And I think she will find her footing. She is meant to be a champion in WWE. And I feel like some of that hype and some of that, we thought she was going to be champion right away,
Mm-hmm.
and they just never put the belt on
Yeah.
her. And I feel like part of that is also on WWE for having a star that they brought in and then kind of like, oh, we're going to make you a star. Never mind. And then they just take it away from us. And we're like, oh, then we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to treat you like one as fans.
Yeah.
So interesting move by WWE to do so. Sometimes they do that with people that they bring in. And I'm not saying it's the end of the road or anything. Like I said, destined to be a champion one day,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And we will be back on the podcast talking good about Jordynne Grace.
Yeah.
But you're right. We got to keep it 100, Brian. That's what we do here.
That's right.
Brian, you got anything else for him?
No, I think that's a good episode of Overrated, Underrated, man. It's kind of our thing.
Yeah, it really is. What I want is for people to comment down below wrestlers. I know you guys suggest retro rewatches all the time, and we want you guys to suggest wrestlers you want us to talk about because it's fun coming up with these lists of wrestlers. I felt like we had a pretty good batch today.
Mm-hmm.
Some people I was not expecting to talk about, but I'm glad we got to talk about them. And that's the most exciting part about doing these. Sometimes you look at the landscape of WWE today, and we're talking about Tiffany Stratton,
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and then on the men's side, Seth, Cody, Punk, Roman, all the time.
Yep.
And we're on a podcast talking about British Bulldog, Javon Evans, and Jordynne Grace. Like
Yep.
it's good to get on here and talk about people we don't talk
It
about very
is.
often. And what we want to talk about the people you guys want to hear us talk about, who you want to suggest to us. So please drop those comments down below. Give us a whole list. Give us 3, 4,
Yeah.
5 wrestlers. It'd be awesome. We'd love to do that.
I would love to know superstars that you guys want to hear me decide if they're overrated or
It'd
underrated.
be awesome. I
There,
know.
there, there's got to be some that you guys are dying to know
Yeah,
what we possibly could think about because me and Will go in some weird directions sometimes, but that's what makes it fun.
I know. I know.
It's what makes us power and glory.
Yeah, and I mean the one we can talk about is Damian Priest. We already did that one,
Yeah.
and we'd probably deem him overrated. So
Yeah, but
sorry.
no.
I'm just-
I think I had overrated.
I had underrated.
You
I
had
love
underrated, and
baseball.
then you talked me into it, and I
Yeah,
retracted away. And I was like, in the course of one episode, I think I had to throw the cha-cha slide in with the reverse
Reverse,
because I
reverse.
reversed it. You talked me out of it.
yeah. I'm
It
just
can be reasoned with.
I know we can be. It's crazy to think, and I just had to get my Damian Priest jab in.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't a good one. I'll acknowledge when they're not good, but I love Damian Priest. So I need a Damian Priest shirt. I really do.
Yeah.
Maybe one that just says I love Damian Priest. I don't even need the WWE shop one because oh, I've been wanting to talk about this for so long. 90% of WWE shop stuff is unwearable in public. I- like you look at there's a Jey Uso shirt right now, top selling merch. It says eat, sleep, yeet, repeat. If I saw someone wearing that in public, I'm sorry, I'm flaming you. I'm posting that to whoever I'm with. I'm like, I love Jey Uso, but look at this clown right here. Sorry, sorry, I did have to get that off my chest. I had to get that off my chest. Ugh,
It's WWE shop right here. I
that's not
proudly
that's
I
not bad
I
though.
proudly
That's
wear
more than
my
That's in the 10%. That's in the
yeah.
10%. If you wore that in public, you would be fine. But I have a shirt over there. My Rock shirt is literally The Rock in full wrestling gear. wearing that out in public, people are probably like, why does that dude have a half-naked Dwayne Johnson picture on his t-shirt? You know, there's, I mean, like, let's be
Dave Meltzer has that on his wall.
honest.
Yeah.
And he forged The Rock's signature on it. It's not
The
really
Rock
Rock.
really signed it. I promise you, he signed it. You can see right there. It says to Dave. Uh-huh.
Dave, yeah, he wrote
Yeah.
that himself.
Uh-huh.
Me and Dave Meltzer can twin one day. Oh gosh.
All right, take us out of here, Will.
Yeah, I'm going to go check out the Realm Paranormal podcast.
Links down below, guys.
Links down below. A lot of interesting stuff going on there. TikTok, link down below. Go check out our YouTube shorts. I'm Will. Hold on. No bang bang this time. That's my guy, Brian.
Yeah.
And until next time, we love you. See ya.
See you guys next time. Peace out. I kind of miss Liv being in there.
I know we have no one in there.
I know, that's
okay though.
yeah.
I don't like it like that. I feel like it'd be
Yeah.
too much. We already have we're inside of a ring.
Yeah, we are.
That's kind of cool. Make sure I'm just not Jim Cornetting right now, and I'm talking out my you know what.
Look at you. Gotta look up to get all your answers. You should know all that off the top of your head. Like me. You're doing wrestling. I've been in the business since I was 9 years old. Down there in Texas doing all that. And you got your computers now. I used to have to be a heel.
Oh,
You got a computer to do work for you. Yankee.
that was so good. We got our blooper.
This is gonna be all beeps.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God.